So you've done all right in life, you've earned a little bit of money, you've worked hard, and you feel like you deserve a nice luxury car. Well, what do you go for? Maybe you have a look at BMW's range, maybe Audi, or maybe Mercedes takes your fancy. Well, I think I've just found my favourite engine, and it's not in an AMG, it's in this. This is the brand new CLS 400D. So this is the third generation of the CLS, and it kind of takes the best bits from the Mercedes E-Class Saloon and Coupe. You've got this incredibly nice sloping roofline, but with the addition of the 2 extra doors, and it tries to tick a lot of boxes. And it actually does quite well. I think looks-wise, it is absolutely gorgeous. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Mercedes AMG GT 4-door. And you've got this incredibly nice, good-looking shark nose on the front that they've adopted on a lot of their models. So you'll see this kind of look on the new A-Class, for instance. And I think it looks wicked. I was a little bit worried about how Mercedes were going to develop this kind of look that they had on the front. But this, in my opinion, is a very good addition. And it goes without saying that you know exactly what is behind you if you look at one of these in a rearview mirror, because you can't miss that big 3-pointed star on the front. So if you're here in the UK, there is only one trim option available to you, and that is the AMG line trim. And with the AMG trim, you get 19-inch AMG alloy wheels, which actually this one has the optional 20-inch, which I rather like. On the inside, you also get aluminium pedals. Now, for any Mercedes, I think this is a must anyway. It just makes them look a lot better. You also get a black lined roof as well. On the outside as well of this car, there are some cool little additions which I wanted to point out, one of which is here at the back. And all the new modern Mercedes now have this really cool reversing camera. I first saw it on a C63 AMG. They hide the reversing camera underneath this Mercedes badge. So the reversing camera is actually in there, and it flips out when you stick it in reverse. And then when you go forward again, it basically puts the badge back down, and you'd never even know it was there. If we come back round to the wing mirrors, what's quite cool on a lot of modern cars is they now go for this kind of bird's eye view of the whole car. So when you're parking, it makes it a lot easier, and you can basically see, it's like a camera is stuck above the car, and it shows all around the car to help you park, which is cool. And it's used by these little cameras underneath each door mirror to basically give you a huge wide view of the side of the car. So very, very handy if you're trying to park. And to get into the car, use a very handy thing called a door handle. But of course, a new Mercedes, being a new Mercedes, has keyless entry. So you literally put your hand there and the car will open. All you need is the key in your pocket. Let's have a look inside. Now, onto the inside of the new CLS. It's basically an E-Class. I'm not gonna lie, it's an E-Class, which is not a bad thing, because everything kind of feels and acts the way you'd expect it, really. I've always been a huge fan of these turbo vents. They are amazing. Also, the kind of the wood, I don't even know if it is wood. If it's plastic, it does a good job of feeling like wood. This is really nice. And the leather that you get everywhere, just, it feels quality. As I said at the beginning, you know, if you've done well, you want some nice leather, and these seats are really, really good. So sitting in one of these, it is just lovely. You've got these huge screens in front of you which give as much data as you could possibly want on the car. They're starting to roll this across most of the Mercedes range, and I can see why, because it works really, really well. Even though it looks like one big screen, it's actually 2 screens. You've got one here that will do all your climate and you know, show you what kind of driving mode you're in and stuff, and then the one on the right is predominantly for your trip, speedometer, revs, etc., etc. This car would also do stupid things like, you know, load up Microsoft Office if you want to see kind of what emails and stuff you've got coming through. You can basically sit in a moving office. In terms of space, plenty of room in the door bins down at the side. You've also got lots and lots of room down here, and somewhere to charge your phone wirelessly if you tick that option, and also somewhere to plug it in. Here, lots more room in the middle as well. You can plug your phone in there as well. A couple more USB slots and an SD card reader. And let's go and have a quick look in the back. And now in the back, this is the first time I've actually sat in here, and it's not bad. Quite a few people mention the headroom, but I mean, you've got to be pretty tall. I'm 5'9", 5'10" on a good day, and I feel like I've got plenty of room. The seats as well, they mold a little bit out the back, so you've got room to put your knees, which is good. And you know, having someone 5'10" sat in front of you, it's not too bad. Probably get a little bit more room in an E-Class, if I'm being honest, but it's not a bad place to be in the back. Now onto the boot of the CLS, 520 litres, which is rather a lot. That's just shy of an E-Class actually. You've got the ski chute in the middle as well, so if you are doing a long journey and you just happen to have some skis, they will fit in there nicely. But it goes back a long way, and at a car that's nearly 5 metres long, you would expect a boot of this size. So thumbs up, good size boot. There are, however, a couple of things I'm not that keen on this car. One is that when you're traveling at motorway speeds, kind of around this area, it feels like there's a little bit of wind noise going on. It's really not that bad, but I wanted to mention it. Second of all, this car is hugely long, at nearly 5 meters. Every time I park it at home, I kind of feel the front is way over where the line is on the floor. And third, but by no means least, why are companies making exhaust tips that have nothing to do with the exhaust? There's nothing there. They aren't a real exhaust. And now on to the classic ITH options list, which this car has many of. This car is actually fitted with £10,000 worth of options, and I'll read a couple out to you. This has the Premium Plus package, which includes a 12.3-inch screen colored display in front of me, which is uprated from the standard one. It has the Burmeister sound surround system, which is 13 speakers and a 9-channel amplifier with a total output of 590 watts. 360-degree camera, which is very handy for parking. Keyless Go comfort package, which is, again, getting into the car. Memory package, driver's seat, front passenger seat, steering wheel and extended mirrors, all adjustable with memory. Electric sliding sunroof, which is here above me, and that comes to a total of £3,895. This car also comes with a comfort package, which gives you the air suspension and also some fragrances that you have in the car, which if we lean here into the glove compartment, you can see that this car has the fragrance of Daybreak Mood. Sexy. Not only that, you get black leather upholstery, which is very plush, and behind me that comes in at £2,495, so £2,500 for a air freshener and some suspension and a bit of lovely leather. Driver assistance package. Now this is quite nifty. It basically gives you all the gadgets you'd kind of expect to have in the car anyway, like blind spot. You've got the steering assist as well, active braking assist, tailback emergency braking function, active lane keeping as well. There's also route-based speed adaptation, which is quite cool, so the GPS knows where you are, knows what the speed is, and will bring you down if you're being a bit naughty, and that comes in at £1,695. This also has privacy glass, £345. Wireless charging for smartphones. Every time I put my phone in here, it starts charging, which is quite handy. That is £150 if you want to charge your phone wirelessly. And we're on to paint. Now, this car only has 2 paint options if you're being basically tight, because all the other options for paint will be a cost. So it's black and white, basically. If you want a black car, not a problem. If you want a white car, again, fine. If you want any other colour, it's going to cost you. So this car, £10,000 worth of options, and if I'm being honest, it's kind of about right. You want to spend about 10 grand on this car to get it to a point where you're like, yeah, I have done well, and I am going to spend 10 grand on options on my brand new CLS. Thank you very much. And now on to the engine of the CLS 400D. This is the best bit about this car in my opinion. It's powered by a 3-litre diesel engine which produces 340 horsepower. 340 horsepower might not seem a huge amount, but it does produce 700 Newton meters of torque, which is huge. It'll do 0 to 62 miles an hour in 5 seconds dead, and it'll do around about 48 miles per gallon. Few reasons why this engine is one of my favourite engines at the moment. One is the amount of torque it has, 700 Newton meters. That is around about the same as an Audi SQ5 TDI, or 200 Newton meters more than, let's say, a Mercedes AMG GTR. And you can feel it. When you stick your foot on the accelerator, it absolutely shifts. If you've got it in Sport Plus, it really does rocket you down the road. Now, the way it rockets you down the road is in pure luxury and pure comfort. It's got so much torque, but the way it delivers it is so smooth. So you just kind of sit here and you look down and you're doing a speed that you probably don't want to be doing pretty quickly. The engine is pretty silent when you're driving along. It's not like an old tractor, which is rather nice in a modern day diesel like this. And it does it in this kind of silent but deadly way. And I've kind of fallen in love with this engine. And what gives this car its glorious ride is the suspension. Now this car is fitted with the optional air suspension, but it's so good. You are just riding on a cloud. It's exactly what you'd expect from a car, not only of this level, but this price, to have this kind of ride. It deals with bumps so well. And if you put it into Sports Plus mode, it will stiffen things up and it will feel a bit more sporty. But if you do push on and you decide to give it some, it will understeer rather than oversteer, mainly because it's a four-wheel drive car and it gives you huge amounts of grip with the 4MATIC system, but you will start to feel understeer if you really go for it. As you can imagine, from a car of this kind of level and this luxury, you're going to get quite a few toys to play with, but they're not really ground-defining toys. They're kind of toys that have been around for quite a while. So there's a little bit of autonomy in there for the fact that this car will hold its lane in the motorway, and if you indicate and your hands aren't on the wheel, it will also move lane for you, knowing that it's clear to do so around you. It's also got radar detection, so it knows how far away the car is in front and it will keep that distance for you. Again, lane control as well, that'll help you not go into a hedge on the motorway. It's very handy stuff, but it's kind of stuff that we've seen for a few years in car technology. And we have to talk about the price of this car. It's not cheap. This one is £61,000 as a base starting price, and that's before you put any options on it at all. I feel like you're probably paying slightly for the look, because you could buy a similarly spec'd E-Class and that will cost you less money and you get more practicality. So I can only think that these lovely flowing lines of the CLS are probably going to make you reach a little bit deeper into your pocket. I want to talk slightly about road tax as well, so you know what you're getting into. Here in the UK, this car is £465 for the year for road tax, and it does go slightly above the new £40,000 premium car tax that they've brought into play. So this is a new car tax here in the UK, which for new vehicles will last 5 years. In the first year, this car will cost you £310, and then for 4 years after that, £450 per year on top of the road tax, which is quite a lot of money if I'm being honest. Warranty wise, on a car like this, which is very important, this comes with a 3-year unlimited mileage warranty, and then they'll give you breakdown cover for 30 years after that if you make sure that you service it at a Mercedes main dealer, which is kind of standard practice these days. Quite a few other manufacturers though are starting to prolong their warranty period, so I don't know, at some point in the future are Mercedes going to do that? Fingers crossed. If you do know more than I do, please put it in the comments below and I'll make sure I super like it so that it puts it to the top, because I feel like 3 years is good, but maybe I think Mercedes could do a little bit better. So as you can tell, I am rather a big fan of the new CLS 400D. I think this engine inside is fantastic. Some of the practicality you don't get with the E-Class is, I think, made up by the looks of it. I think it looks stunning. But what would you buy? Would you buy one of these? Maybe you'd go out and buy an Audi A7 Sportback, or maybe a BMW 6 Series Grand Coupe. Let us know in the comments below, which car do you prefer? For me, this is what I'd go out and buy. Please do give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to the In the Headlights channel. We'll be back real soon with loads more car reviews and some podcasts on the way as well. Bye for now.